This is Lesson 5F on solving equations with rational expressions or fractions. To solve equations with fractions, you're going to multiply both sides of the equation by the least common denominator, and that should clear out your fractions. To figure out the domain, you're going to factor your denominators and determine if there are any values for which the variable that would make your denominator equal to 0. Since dividing by 0 makes the world explode, we have to throw those out. So let's look at example 1. In this equation, our denominators are 6, 4, and 8. Since there are no variables, there's no way for those to be 0. So our domain is all real numbers. Our common denominator, we need to look at the numbers 6, 4, and 8 and find the smallest number that's divisible by all three of those. In this case, that would be 24. So what we're going to do is multiply each of our fractions by 24. I like to put the 24 on top. It's a nice visual reminder of what I'm doing. And then we're going to cancel. 24 divided by 6 is 4. What that's going to do is make this equation now 4 times x. And then our next one, 24 divided by 4, is 6. So it's going to make this equation minus 6 times x minus 3. And on the other side, 24 divided by 8 is 3. So that side becomes 3 times x plus 1. And if you notice at this point, all of our fractions are gone. We just need to distribute, combine like terms, and solve. So we're going to distribute first. And we can go ahead and distribute on both sides. Combine our like terms. Let's get our x's together. I'm going to go ahead and add the 2x across and make that a 5x here. And I'm going to subtract the 3 over to the other side. So 15 is equal to 5x, so x would have to be 3. Since we didn't have any restrictions in our domain, this is going to be our answer. Now let's look, you give the next one a try. Stop the video, and when you're finished, you can resume the video. We'll check this problem in class. Okay, you should have this problem finished. So we're going to move on and look at example 2. Same idea, except if you look at your denominators, they seem to be very similar. This is that situation where we change order around a subtraction sign, and those are really just opposites. So if we think of our denominator as -1 times a minus 1, we can actually rewrite that second fraction. So the problem I'm really looking at is 3a minus 5 over 1, and I'm going to move this negative up here and make this plus 2a over a minus 1 is equal to 2. And now we're going to go on and do what we did with the others. Let's think about domain. In this case, I do have a variable, so I need to think that a minus 1 cannot equal 0. So if I just solve that, that means a cannot be positive 1. So my domain is all real numbers except positive 1. Okay, common denominator. I'm looking at all the denominators I have, and they're the same, which makes this a little easy. Our denominator would just be a minus 1. So I'm going to go through and put a minus 1 on top of each of my problems, including the other side, because I'm multiplying all the way through by that. When I cancel here, it's just gone. Here, it's also just gone. And here, on the right side, I'm going to have to multiply. So now my equation is 3a minus 5 plus 2a equals 2 times a minus 1. So we're going to distribute, combine like terms, and solve again. Pause the video and finish this problem off. Alright, so when you finish this problem off, you should be getting a to be 1. But look at your domain. We said that a cannot be 1 because it's going to make the world explode. We are not allowed to divide by 0. Since this is an excluded value, we actually don't have any answer. So our solution to the problem is that there is no solution. I want you to try the next one. And again, like the last one, pause the video, work the problem out, and we will check this in class. All right, hopefully we have this one finished, and we're going to move on and look at one more example. The problem seems to have gotten a little bit bigger, and the denominator needs to be factored. So the first thing we're going to do is factor this, and it's going to be x minus 2 times x plus 3. So I want to think of this denominator in factored form to make it easier. For my domain, x minus 2 cannot be 0, and x plus 3 cannot be 0. So my domain will be that x cannot be 2 or negative 3. Common denominator, I need all the factors that I have included. So I'm going to have x minus 2 times x plus 3. This is what I want to use to multiply all the way through the equation. So I'm going to go ahead and write that on top of each piece. Once it's up on top, then I can cancel factors that match. So here I'm going to cancel my x minus 2. What that's going to leave me with for the first fraction is x times x plus 3. For my second fraction, I'm going to cancel the x plus 3 factor. That's going to leave me with a positive 2 times x minus 2. In the last one, we're going to cancel the x minus 2 and the x plus 3, and what that's going to leave me with is just 10. So from here, as with before, we're going to distribute. So x squared plus 3x plus 2x minus 4 would be equal to 10. Since I have a quadratic now, I have an x squared in my problem, I need it all on one side equal to 0. So I'm going to have x squared. I'm going to go ahead and add those two together and get 5x, and I'm going to subtract by 10 and get minus 14 equals 0. To solve our quadratic, we're going to factor and set each factor equal to 0. This should factor fairly easily. It's going to be x minus 2, x plus 7. So since each one of those could be 0, we'd have x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 7 equals 0, so x is 2, or x is negative 7. But wait a minute, we need to look at our domain. Our domain has excluded the values 2 and negative 3. So since this is excluded, our only answer is that x is equal to negative 7. The next two problems we're going to start with in class next time. If you want to give a look at it and see if you can get it, more power to you. But we will start with those in class next time. This is the end of the video. You can go ahead and close it out now.